Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. 7:35 p.m. It is the 6th of April is the date, and as always, we're going to be looking at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain over the last couple of days. Of course, we'll go into the comment section, see what viewers have been writing about in the comment section. Very busy has the comment section been in recent times, I will say. And then in the second half of this evening's live chat, we'll go into the live chat and check out what is happening there. That is, if my voice gets through to that part of the live stream today. So if you're watching in the live chat, if you're watching the live stream, say hello in that live chat. Now, let's get straight into the news. And discontent over Spain's housing crisis spreads with new protests. Mass protests against Spain's deepening housing crisis took place on Saturday in 40 cities, highlighting growing public frustration with skyrocketing rents and unaffordable housing. Organised by tenants' unions under the slogan, "Let's end the housing business," the protests drew tens of thousands. In Madrid, organisers claimed 100,000 participants, 15,000 according to official sources, and in Barcelona, figures range from 12 to 100,000. Protesters argued that government measures are too slow and ineffective, urging authorities to take strong action against rising prices and powerful real estate interests. In Barcelona, union spokesperson Carme Alcarazo warned politicians that failing to confront housing speculation could have political consequences. Other cities, including Seville, Malaga, San Sebastián, and Valencia, also joined the coordinated mobilization, sparked the largest statewide protest on housing since before the 2008 financial crisis, revealing mounting national pressure for decisive housing reform amid worsening affordability and social unrest. So there we go. The housing protests continue all over Spain yesterday. 40 cities where protesters took to the streets to demand action on this issue, and action that the government has been pushing down the road like that proverbial can, because they have been promising a solution to this now for years and nothing still happening, according to those protesters there. They want affordable housing, they want good affordable housing, and they want the government to make it happen. And lots of reasons why this is not happening, principally because rent prices in Madrid or in big cities here in Spain are very, very expensive, and various reasons for that. One could be the growing tourist numbers. Lots of tourist flats have popped up in recent times, and just basically because when it comes to social housing, the government has done very little in recent times. That could also be one of the reasons for the housing crisis, and people have had enough and they want an answer to the crisis now. Second piece of news. And Prime Minister Sánchez aims to strengthen trade and economic ties with Asia during his visit to Vietnam and China. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is travelling to Vietnam and China this week to strengthen economic and trade ties as part of a diversification strategy amid escalating trade tensions with the US. He is accompanied by Foreign Minister José Manuel Álvarez, Agriculture Minister Luis Planas, and a delegation of Spanish business leaders. This marks the first official visit by a Spanish leader to Vietnam, where Sánchez will meet the country's 4 top political leaders. The tour continues in China, where Sánchez is expected to sign several trade agreements, including one addressing Spanish cosmetic companies' access to the Chinese market. The government hopes to align with Asian partners facing similarly high US tariffs, 46% for Vietnam and 34% for China compared to 20% for the EU. While the aim is not to replace US trade, the visit seeks to reduce dependency and open new markets, especially in sectors affected by the ongoing trade war. Yes, the ongoing trade war that was started last week by none other than President Donald Trump with his board of tariffs, which he considers to be unfair. Nobody really knows how they came to those figures, the US administration. People still scratching their heads. Some of the top economists in the world scratching their heads trying to work out how those figures were worked out by the US administration. But of course, we saw the result subsequently that the stock markets suffered huge losses all around the world because of that decision last week by, as I said, US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Sanchez. They're looking for new avenues, new trade partners, because the old trade partners might have come to an end with this tariff war, with this trade war, or maybe some other type of war that is boiling away or in the mind of some people. Don't know. Time will tell. But as I said, the stock markets, still reeling, and we'll see how they open tomorrow, of course. Third piece of news, and the police in Barcelona plan against repeat offenders in that city. We need to occupy public space, make life harder for criminals, they say. Barcelona's police have launched a large-scale operation known as Plan Campay to tackle rising concerns over repeat offenders, particularly in streets like Robador in the Raval district, known for its decline and criminal activity. On Friday, over 1,000 officers, including riot police, local forces, immigration officials, and port and private security, took part in a 24-hour coordinated action to occupy public space and increase visibility. One notable arrest was that of a 23-year-old undocumented man wanted for theft and robbery in Madrid, caught after failing to appear in court. His case is one of 105 arrests made that day. Authorities aim to disrupt the sense of impunity among habitual offenders with a strategy focused on controlling the key urban areas and deterring criminal activity. Catalonia remains the Spanish region with the highest crime rate, and police hope increased presence and targeted actions will restore public confidence and reduce the perception of insecurity in affected communities. And basically, all I can say about this article is it's about time that the police started cracking down on these repeat offenders, people that day after day are on the streets in cities like Barcelona, Madrid, Seville, Malaga, and other big tourist destinations in this country, robbing people continuously because they don't rob huge amounts. If it's under 400 euros, there's nothing much the court system can do, so they're back on the streets the next day. And as we saw there, the repeat offender, the 23-year-old undocumented man, not even allowed to be living in this country, arrested in Barcelona for not appearing in court for crimes he or she committed in Madrid. Was it a man? Yes, that he committed in Madrid on an earlier date. So that's what we're dealing with here. Weak laws, weak justice system, criminals that basically walk around with impunity, doing whatever they want to do because they know that nothing serious will come to them. So the Barcelona police finally, and maybe time for other police forces to do the same thing. However, I did notice the other day when I was in Madrid's capital, when Spain's capital city, Madrid, that there was a high police presence, especially in the main tourist areas. Patrol cars sitting in those areas, and a high police presence, as I said. Next piece of news here, and another summer of disruption. Spain's anti-tourism protests reignite ahead of Easter break. Last summer, Spain erupted with protests driven by the soaring tourist numbers, putting a strain on residents' daily lives. More than 90 million foreign visitors descended on the country in 2024, and consultancy firm Brain Trust estimates that the number of arrivals will rocket to 115 million by 2040. Angered by the inadequate government measures to manage the flow, locals across Spain staged hunger strikes, plastered visitor hotspots with anti-tourism messages, and squirted tourists with water guns. As the Easter holidays approach, the anti-tourism sentiment is brewing once again, and protests are ramping up. Residents are demanding that authorities step up regulations before peak season sees tourist destinations overwhelmed again. So that is the question being asked by Euronews. Another summer of disruption here in Spain. It seems that it is going to be the case. The same people will take their protests to the streets. We'll start these anti-tourism movements again in the main hotspots because the issues have not been resolved. The government has not acted on this, and as we saw there, the figures are growing year by year. And by 2040, 115 million visitors coming to Spain. Wow, currently sitting at around 94 million international visitors, I think, and we've seen the problems already. So I can't imagine what's going to happen in coming years when these protests, well, the demands of the protesters are not met, and basically they want to reclaim their cities, reclaim their tourist spots, and they don't want them overcrowded or overrun by international tourists. That is the main issue, I think, at hand here. So we can see there that they are ramping up. Easter just around the corner, and it's going to be interesting to see what tactics the protesters use this year. Will they get out the water guns again and squirt tourists having dinner in Barcelona? Will they go on hunger strikes again? Will they chain themselves to hotels? Will they put up anti-tourism graffiti? Probably. Because that's what we're dealing with. Now, into the comment section we're going to go. The first one here is from Janook 10. Cancelling the golden visa is one step in the right direction to stop the land grab and money laundering by foreign governments in Spain. Thanks, Janook, for the comment. We saw last week that the Spanish government's golden visa program has come to an end officially. It was announced late last year that it was coming to an end, but of course 3 days ago, I think April the 3rd was the exact date, no more, finito, se acabó, the golden visa here in Spain, meaning that rich investors no longer have that avenue to secure residency by investing €500,000, I think was the minimum amount. By investing that amount of money in property or businesses or other business adventures here in Spain, they could secure that golden visa. And according to Janook there, it was a money laundering and land grab by foreign governments in Spain. Don't know if there's any data to back that up. But thanks, Janook, for the comment. Obviously not happy with the golden visa and glad that it has disappeared is Janook. On the other side of the coin, we have Angie, gutted about the golden visa. That had been my plan. Just reading some articles from 2013 to 2023, Spain granted 14,576 golden visas through property investment, according to government figures. This doesn't seem a very high number for such a significant policy change. No, Angie, that's the debate that people are having. Why was the golden visa scheme scrapped when less than 15,000 people in a 10-year period took it up? Well, maybe what Janook said before has something to do with it. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure if that is a valid allegation or not. But the government was under pressure from the European Union, under pressure here locally, because they think that by scrapping that scheme, they're going to keep some of the population happy. But I don't know if that will be the case or not. But there are other visa options available if you want to come and live in Spain, just not the golden visa anymore. But there are, as I said, various options that you can use to come and live here. But good luck with Spanish bureaucracy. That is what I would say. One here from Joan. My son and daughter-in-law lived in Alcobendas, where they both used to work, before moving to La Paz, Barrio Pilar, to start a family. There's a metro, Marqués de Valdavia, but it wasn't very convenient to use, or Valdavia, not sure how you would pronounce that. It wasn't convenient, according to Joan. This question popped up the other day about this Madrid neighborhood, Alcobendas, one of two neighborhoods on the northern part of the city, which are right next to each other, Alcobendas and San Sebastián de los Reyes, and whether it had a metro system, but it does. And I had a look on the metro map, and indeed there is a metro line, line 10, going to Alcobendas. But according to Joan, not convenient. So thanks, Joan, for setting that one straight. I thought there was maybe what they call a light metro ligero, but that light metro goes to other parts of Madrid, not to the Alcobendas area. Thanks, Joan. Another one here from Bale with the Verdes. Where do locals find vacation rentals? I was wondering if there are other options rather than Airbnb or Expedia. Thanks, guys, for the comment here. I think a lot of locals, or at least the locals that I know, use the traditional ways, or the ways that you mentioned there, the Airbnb platform, the booking platform. Maybe there are some other local ones. For example, maybe there's a website called casasrurales.net or .net or something like that, where you can find this type of accommodation. What some people that I know do is they get the information for the property on booking, but then they ring the property directly and see if they can get a better deal that way. And you'd be, maybe not surprised to find out that these places sometimes do prefer to deal directly with the customer or the client rather than go through the booking platform that does charge quite a bit. So I know people that do that. But as far as I know, just the traditional ways for looking for rental properties, short-term rental properties for holiday lets or vacation lets. So thanks for the comment. Another one here from GF8449. Staut. Everyone around the world has been tariffing US products and services for decades. Don't be outraged when the US reciprocates, as it insinuates a double standard. Emoji, laughing emoji. Thanks, GF, for that. I'll just pick you up on a couple of things here. Firstly is the spelling of my name. You got that one wrong, Stuart. And I think tariff is only one R. Two F's, one R, two F's, so an extra R in that word there. And I'm not going to go into the tariff debate. I don't want to ruffle too many feathers like yourself there, GF, because obviously you're believing everything that comes out of Mr. Trump's mouth, so I'm not going to try to argue with that. But it is strange when you come out with a series of numbers that even some of the best economists in the world have no idea how those numbers were reached. There are some theories about trade deficit and all of these type of things, but reciprocal, not sure about that. And the markets, as I mentioned earlier, certainly are not sure about that either. And one thing I learned during the financial crisis here in 2008 to 2015 is that the markets seem to know what's going on as far as economic policy is concerned. And when they don't like something, they react. And that's what we saw the other day. So thanks, GF, for that. But Stuart rather than Staut. But thanks for trying. Another one here from Kristen. Anybody that knows anything about wine will not subject themselves to buying US wine. Gross. No, thank you. I'll pay more for my imported Spanish and European wine if I have to. Thanks, Kristen. Someone replied to this saying that Spanish wine is expensive vinegar. So obviously that person, again, believing the Kool-Aid that comes out of the president's mouth as far as wines are concerned. Not sure about that, because I've had some very nice Spanish wine over the years that I wouldn't classify as expensive vinegar. Maybe if you buy the cheap stuff, it could be. And maybe that person that replied to your comment is indeed buying the cheap stuff. But if you spend around €10 a bottle, you'll get a decent wine. And will the price of wine go up? Most probably with these new tariffs, of course. But Kristen here saying that it's worth it not to drink the US wine. And again, I'm not an expert on US wine, but Kristen willing to pay more for the imported stuff rather than the local stuff. So thanks for that. But definitely the price will go up for US consumers once those tariffs are imposed. Nigel, amazing price. If you do a bit of research, then Spain will guarantee you excellence in both quality of food and value for money. Great video. Thanks, Nigel. Yes, I did a food video the other day. I travelled to the centre of Spain, Cuenca, sat down and ate pig's trotters and Irish stew, somebody said. Spanish stew, I think, was the more official title, but it did resemble an Irish stew. And it did remind me a little bit of the Irish stews that my mother used to make when I was growing up in those winter months in Australia, of course. And yeah, good value for money, good quality food, value for money, can't go wrong. And I think in general with the menú del día, the daily set menu that you get here, the set meal, normally a choice of 4 to 5 starters, 4 to 5 second dishes as well, dessert, various choices, drinks included, or coffee sometimes, or dessert or coffee. So the best value for money in Spain, no doubt, the menú del día. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. And the final comment here from Tim, a shame you missed out on the wine, Stuart. Some vino tinto, a glass of aniseed followed by a siesta might do the trick. Thanks, Tim. Yep, I do enjoy a glass of wine with my meals, whether it be lunch or dinner. And if I have the menú del día, I often order wine, only if I don't have to drive, of course. If I go local and I don't have to take the car, I can have a glass of wine, which I often do. Or if I'm on the road staying in a hotel, yes, I'll have a glass of wine. But nowadays with the strict drinking and driving rules, even after a glass of wine, I think you could get pulled over by the civil guard here in Spain. And sometimes it's difficult to stop at one glass of wine or a little shot after the meal as well. That's one of the big problems with alcohol. Once you start drinking, it's sometimes not easy to stop after one glass. You'd like another one, or maybe another drink after that as well. But responsibility, drinking and driving, no thank you. So water. But as I said, would I have liked a glass of wine that day? Absolutely. 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 Thanks for the comment. Now into the live chat section we're going to go. Before I get there, I have to change the backdrop picture. Renan, United States resident, currently or recently traveling in Spain, took this photo in Altea in the Valencian community, one of these typical mountainous areas with the coast very close, as we can see there. Houses scattered across the landscape. Thanks, Renan, for sending this photo through. Great shot. A lovely day also. Nice cloudy day. Great for taking a photo. Not too sunny, not too dark, just perfect. So thanks for that. And other people that have a similar photo that if you'd like to see it on the backdrop here, the email address is spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send those photos through. spainspeaks@gmail.com, or if you want to send any other information my way, maybe some news has caught your attention. Lots of people send me news articles. John sends me real estate articles. Good to see. Another John sends me articles that make the Irish press, which I check out. So thank you very much for that. And as I said, photos, that's the email address to send them through to. Like icon going on the screen now. We're currently at 76. So if you haven't hit the like icon yet, do us a favor. Just below the video, you will find it. Give it a smash, and we'll see if we can get up to a decent tally of likes today. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button as well. It's completely free. Turn on notifications and away you go. So consider that also. Subscribing, and also people that have supported. Have to thank people that have supported the channel, which keeps the channel going basically in recent times. Super thanks. Thank you very much for that. Super chat on the live streams. People that have supported the channel that way in recent times. People that have bought me a coffee. Longer term supporters on Patreon. Got a message from Fred today, who's doing the walk down there in Malaga. Thanks, Fred. He's a Patreon. Lots of other Patreons as well. And also the channel members on the YouTube channel here. Thank you very much for that support. And we'll see some of those valued members right now when we go into the chat section. Let me scroll up to the top. Let me see what's going on here in the chat. I'll just see how many we've got. Quite a few to get through tonight. Might not be able to get through all the chat today, so we'll see. Andrew, the first person that I can see. Sunny, warm weekend in Amariña in Galicia, 20 degrees plus. Thanks, Andrew. Enjoy that weather. I imagine it will turn fairly quickly. Sani's in the chat too, coming in from Basingstoke in the United Kingdom. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. Sunny again in Basingstoke. Wow, what is going on in Basingstoke? Seems to be sunnier there than here in Spain currently. Amanda, regular viewer, saying hello in the chat section. John's a valued member, also in the chat. Nice day in Almeria. Of course, John and family, I think, back in Almeria currently. But back to Spain on Tuesday and then returning on Good Friday. Have a great week ahead. So plenty of time spent on planes over the next few weeks, John. Stephen is a valued member, recently in Spain, Torrevieja, but back in the UK. Spring day there in North London, sunny, nice conditions to come back to after a week in Spain. I hope everyone has a great week ahead. Gigi, valued member, also is in the chat. Greetings, a greeting to all from a sunny and warm Arizona. Good to see you, Gigi, who also will be back in Spain. I imagine lots of people are planning trips to Spain soon. To go to their houses or do the Camino or just take advantage of the everything that Spain has to offer, because as we saw there, 115 million people forecasted by 2040. So maybe we'll hit the 100 million mark this year, or maybe not, given what's happening to the stock markets. People might not have the funds necessary. Don't know. Kevin saying hello. Simple hello, says Kevin. Alan saying hi. Good evening, Alan. Good to see you in the chat. Chris is here also. Hello, Stuart and all. Alan's coming in from a warm and sunny southeast London. Again, words that don't often go together in the same sentence. Warm and sunny, southeast London. Barbara is a valued member. Hola a todos, I imagine that is supposed to say there. Thanks, Barbara, for that. Melissa coming in from not sure where. Great weather here in the northeast of the country. So obviously in somewhere in Spain, Catalonia maybe. Kevin saying the monk for president. Viva España. Thanks for that. Andrew's in the chat here too. Hoping we're enjoying the weekend. Beautifully sunny where Andrew is, with a bitterly cold wind at London southeast. There we go. Eric is in the chat too, coming in from Terrassa in Catalonia. 3 terrible storms, second part of Albarino with some cockles. Best wishes for next week, last week of the term before Easter. Absolutely, Erica. Kids are on holidays soon for their Easter week, of course. Barbara, I think we saw that before. Yeah, hello to all from the Playa Flamenca, 24 degrees there today, going to Córdoba tomorrow for a few days. Good one, Barbara. Don't forget to take some photos of Córdoba. I'll be waiting for them, of course. What else we got going on here? Eugenia saying if they finally are reacting. Bravo. Probably related to the housing protests, I imagine. They've been reacting for a while. Another thing is whether people will listen to them. Amanda saying, how are the estimates ranging from 12 to 100? That's a wild range. Well, basically what happens, Amanda, is that the government officials, the people that provide the security for these protests, do their estimations, and that's normally the lower figure because that's just the numbers that they work out. But of course, the protest groups who organise the protests go for the higher figures because it's in their interest to maybe inflate the figures. But yeah, it's a fairly big thing, but every time there is a protest here in Spain, you'll get those contradicting numbers. You'll get the official government numbers, or the city, or the official government, the city estimates, and then you'll get the official organisers, the people that organise all of these protests around the country, and they will often range, or they'll often be very, very different figures, as we can see with this one here. 12,000 says the government, 100,000 says the protesters. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Raymond is in the chat here. Stu, greetings all. Like you, I love the Spanish stews, especially Asturias. I have even developed a taste for callos a la madrileña, but pig trotters, I'm just not getting there. Yeah, well, I did adventure into the pigs trotters arena the other day, Raymond. I think it was the first time that I've ever had them. I might be wrong, but it wasn't bad. It was a slow cooked meal, and the pigs trotters were nice. I liked them. James and Kathy coming in from a gorgeous sunny Worcester went for a nice walk along the Severn to a waterside pub, then just dragged Kathy in from the garden. Thanks for that, guys. No doubt we'll be back in Spain shortly. Sane and simple podcasting, we saw the other day in the chat. Back again, American in Denmark, looking at moving to Bilbao in the fall of 2025. They hope. There we go. Let's hope that move comes off to Bilbao, which is a great city. I've been there a few times over the years, and every time I go to Bilbao, I enjoy it. Victoria in the chat, valued member. All is due, sunshine emoji there. So obviously the UK is sunny all over. Heidi saying they need to deport habitual offenders. Yeah, I think one of the big problems, Heidi, with a lot of these habitual offenders is that maybe they don't have any documentation to know where they come from. I know a lot of people that come to Spain through irregular means don't have passports and things like that. So where do people go? Where do you send people to? That's the question, right? Don't know. Sane wants to know, what time do these podcasts or these lives usually start? 7:35 p.m. Sundays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Providing I don't have anything else on, those are the days for the live stream, Sane. So 7:35 p.m. Spain time. Not sure if we're on the same time zone in Denmark. We might be. I'm not sure. But 7:35 Spain time, or Central European time, as they say. This is the question: what if the habitual offender is Spanish? Where do you deport them to? Well, nowhere. Basically, you cannot deport the habitual offender if they are Spanish. And let's be honest, they're not all immigrants or foreigners that are robbing people in the streets here. I can guarantee that. A lot of Spanish-born nationals are doing exactly the same thing. However, they tend to blend in a little bit better with the general crowd, so you might not notice them as much. Mr. T, Mig T, sorry, not Mr. T. The protesters BS. That syndicate leader is another woke rich kid. Squatters and illegal criminals are the main problems. There we go, says Mig T, not mincing the words there. 7:35 is the time. 7:35. Don't forget those extra 5 minutes. Carmen saying here that she loves Cordoba. Perfect 21 degrees in Santa Monica, California right now. Thanks for that. What else we got going on here? Mike, Olas Jew, spring here, plus 9 degrees in Vermilion, Alberta, Canada. Thanks, Mike, for that. Spring finally there. We thought it was there a couple of weeks ago, but then it went away and is back again in Vermilion, sorry. Valued member Al is finally back in Spain at the El Puerto de Santa Maria. I might be heading to Cadiz shortly, Al, so if I do, I'll see if I can drop by El Puerto. Speaking of tariffs, before Trump, EU cars, Mercedes, Jaguars had a 2.5% tariff in the US. US cars were taxed by the EU 12.5%. Seems fair. Yeah, it might seem fair, Al, but the figures just don't add up. The 2.5 to the 12.5 don't add up to 40, which I think was the figure which was then slashed in half and then made 20. So, again, we'll see. And the other thing there is that not many people are willing to buy US cars, to be honest. Al, don't know why. I think even in the States, the European cars seem to be more popular nowadays. Not only there, but around the world in general. Toyotas and things like that. European cars, the Volkswagens. Brad saying, Stuart, the protests are more about a lack of affordable housing than anti-tourism, but I'm very anti-Airbnb. Yeah, but it's all mixed in, Brad, you see. So there's all different reasons why people think that there is a lack of affordable housing here, and over-tourism is right up there as one of the main complaints. So it's all tied in. Flutter Girl coming in from Toronto, where it's only 5 degrees Celsius. Hope everyone has had a lovely week. Thanks for that. Jose saying here that unfortunately the housing problem is global. As long as inventory doesn't increase and governments don't streamline the process of new homes being built, among other things, it will get worse. Thanks, Jose. It is true that, many countries do have a housing crisis. The country that I originate from has one also, and the government is trying to deal with it and keep locals happy. Not easy to do. Malky, to be fair, we're trying Portugal for one of our summer breaks this year. Still have one booked for Spain this year, though. Thanks for that, Malky. Yeah, why not? Head to Portugal. It's also an interesting place to have a holiday, of course, for the summer breaks. One of the many, many beaches. But remember that the water in Portugal, I'll let you find out for yourself if you don't know already, but you're in for a bit of a shock going for a swim there. Jose saying, in addition, salaries need to increase for residents to have a better quality of life. Again, one of the big problems, the salaries, the stagnant salaries, and the starting salaries for young people here leave a lot to be desired. Kathy's coming in from the Chiraco Playa, Valencia, and it's nice to finally make a live stream. Thanks for the videos. Thanks, Kathy, for tuning in. Sports correspondent Jimbo's back in the chat. AFL footy, Fremantle, 15 goals, 7 points, 97, defeated the Western Bulldogs, 12-9, 81, and Sydney Swans, 18-9, 117, defeated by North Melbourne, 8-4, 52. Thanks, Jimbo, for the sports update on the AFL. Not sure how many people would be interested in that, in those results, but thanks. Jose, unfortunately, the housing... Well, I think we just saw that one. Why is it back again? Chinese Crested saying hello from Thailand. Hello, Chinese Crested. Good to see you. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Guildford, 16 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. I imagine that's Guildford in the United Kingdom, not Guildford in Western Australia. Taco Head, 666, copper burglars on the run. Last week, someone broke into my summer house and stole the heating system. The copper pipes were stripped. I have reported it to the police. I suspect the plumbers I hired. Yes, copper burglars. We've got quite a lengthy stretch of the highway where I live without lights because of these copper burglars. They strip the They strip the wires out of the system for the copper, and it is a huge problem in general. People that go around stealing copper, and it's amazing. It's a lot sometimes on new builds. If they don't have security on the new build, the thieves get in there and steal everything that is not tied down, or even things that are tied down. They get that. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. And let's have a look if I can find something here. Martin, haven't seen Martin for a while. Back in Bewdley. Weather actually quite good for a change. Costa Dorado was great. Hasta pronto. Martin gets around, I will say. Spain one day, Turkey the next. All around the world does Martin go. Madrid correspondent coming in from the capital city where the weather is beautiful. Thanks, Dave, for that. Yes, nice day today it was. Nice day today. What else? Let's have a look. Al is in the chat here. Hello to myself and everyone watching. Love watching the content. We'll be in Spain again next month. Thanks, Al, for that. Antonio, US, loves US wine. Really good. Spanish wine is also amazing, like French, Italian, Chilean, Argentinian, Australian, South African, Georgian, Russian, German, Chinese. Lots of amazing wine. Antonio, obviously a wine connoisseur. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look quickly. If I can find something here. Heidi says she loves Aldea, just around the corner from Benny York, but with a nice whole different, nicer vibe. Stayed there one summer and enjoyed it there. Thanks for that. Largo's kids are protesting the Colacao prices here in the US. Well, they'll probably get a price hike. Colacao, the chocolate drink that children seem to love, which is basically sugar. Not much else in there. I think it's about 80% sugar is the Colacao, as most of those chocolate drinks are. Amanda's saying, a husband and I bring our professional abilities and our money to Asturias, not giving the US anything else. Thanks, Amanda, for that. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Gail is in a small village called Religos, is that? Near Leon. Thanks for that, Gail. Don't think I've seen Gail in the chat before. It's on the Camino, says Gail. Thanks for that. What else? Manuel is coming in from a sunny Valencia. Have plans to visit the wife's family in the US for Christmas, but worried we may not be able to if things get any worse. I don't think... who knows what's going to happen next week? We don't know. Every week is a surprise. We'll see what happens. Pete, valued member, coming in from the United States, I think, hoping all is good out there. Oak's putting together plans for our trip this summer. There we go. Planning a trip to Spain, of course. Brad just tried to become a member and the app sends a confirmation code and goes nowhere. FFS. Not sure what the story is there, Brad, as far as the membership is concerned. I thought it was a simple process, but I could be wrong. What else we got going on? Let's have a look. Blue Sky saying Portugal is infinitely better than Spain. In what regard is it better than Spain? Is it cheaper? Are the people nicer? Because I've said it once and I'll say it before, Portugal is a nice country, but it's a little bit limited because of its size. But again, just my opinion. I wouldn't say that it's infinitely better than Spain. It has its pros, it has its cons. But in Spain, more variety, I would say. What else? Pete joining late. Hope all is well. Working on plans to travel to Spain. I think we just saw something from Pete. to see his last aunt, 93-year-old Tia Maria Jesus. Tia Maria. Cordova, according to S, is an amazing place. Thanks for that. Larry's coming in from Tazacorte, La Palma. Good to see you, Larry. Kima is coming in from the car, but not driving, apparently. Thanks for that. In the US, favourite cars are from Japan and South Korea. Some are built in the US. EU levies tariffs within each other. Thanks for that, Edward. Portugal's a great place to have a holiday, absolutely. But I don't agree with the infinitely better than Spain comment. And I like Portugal, but infinitely better? Car decision is made on purpose. Our Ford F-150 is for its utility, and my Toyota Prius hybrid because I have a long work commute from the US. Spain has great public transportation, and I might not need a car. Thanks for that. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Steel Horse saying, might be time for the Spanish government to implement a tourism lottery similar to Machu Picchu. 115 million is a lot of tourists. Heck, 90 million is an insane amount. Yes, that is true. Tourist lottery? Don't know, because as far as I have, or as far as I'm led to believe, from what I hear from the government and the tourism agencies here is the more the better. More the better. A lot of copper theft on the streetlights in LA for several years. Dangerous for night drive. Yeah, exactly the same here. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Very dangerous for night driving. Absolutely. Joan's just catching up. Love the news reports. Helps to keep her informed because they're going to retire here in a few months with the family. There we go. Thanks. Or 9 months or so, says Joan. Thanks for that. We've got a super chat from Pete. Here's my fine for duplicate posts. LOL. Thanks, Pete, for that. Yeah, we had a few duplicate posts today. Not sure what was going on. And John just saying here, crazy. Enjoy the program. Thanks, John, for that. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up. Been going now for 47 minutes, which is quite a long time today. So time to say goodbye. I'll be back again on Tuesday with another live stream. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days with Prime Minister Sanchez's trip to Vietnam and China. I'm sure that'll be dominating headlines, plus some other news, no doubt. So hope to see you then. Hasta luego, hasta entonces. Adios, bye-bye. Good evening.